Northeast Mechanical was asked to be the design build contractor of this facility a couple of years ago. And I remember the day walking through the building with the owner, and this building's been in a very, very dilapidated stage. Hasn't been occupied for many, many years, plaster falling, roof leaking, and we were walking through the building, no lights, just flashlights, and we're walking through the different floors, and I could see Rocco's mind was turning with what he could do to turn each space into revenue generating income. So we're going through the first floor, up to the second floor, up to the seventh floor of this 7-story building, and lo and behold, I turn behind me and I see a staircase. And Rocco didn't know what the staircase was, and we obviously took the steps up and found an 8th floor. So this 8th floor building actually had a penthouse, and which in turn Rocco turned into income generating offices. So we were working with a very, very old, nearly 400,000 square foot building with historical preservation in mind. As you look up and realize that this building is of historic significance, on all 4 sides, standing at the sidewalk and looking up 8 stories, you don't see anything. You don't see the equipment. You don't see any penetrations through the building. The building looks on all 4 sides as if it was built 200 years ago. And that's a big impact and recognizing the flexibility of Mitsubishi and the Mitsubishi products. And as you go within the space and you look across and you see all the indoor units that are hidden and concealed, just as if it was built 200 years ago. That's the flexibility of Mitsubishi, where you can utilize their products so many ways and match the products that they offer with the needs that we have. Rocco's vision of this building was a one-stop wedding destination. And as you could see through the first floor and the levels above, you've got your banquet rooms, you've got tuxedo, you've got dress shops, you've got restaurants for out-of-town guests. The big thing was the entire second floor was converted to a hotel. So what we did was we chose the R2 City Multi-System for the second floor, which is all boutique hotels. Keep in mind, this building had no mechanical heating or cooling equipment that we could utilize, so everything is brand new. So without anything to work with and knowing that we had to hide and disguise everything like it was back in that era, we found the R2 City Multi ceiling concealed units to be the perfect choice for the boutique hotels. Streamlined installation, recessed within the ceiling, you don't even notice them. And they work phenomenal, both for heating and for cooling. We broke up all 50 or so boutique hotel rooms into 3 groups, and each group has its own branch controller, doing about 1/3 each of the hotel rooms. And each hotel, depending on its space, has 1 or sometimes 2 ceiling cassettes with their own individual room controllers where they can maintain perfect temperature, heating, cooling simultaneously if necessary, and it does a phenomenal job. As we work our way into the boutique hotel rooms, the challenges that we had there was because of its historic preservation, we had really nothing to work with except for the ceiling. The ceilings were destroyed from the roof leaking over many, many years, so we had an open ceiling that we had to work with. Again, the tolerances between one room and another room on top were very narrow, so we chose the Mitsubishi concealed ceiling cassette units because their profile was relatively short, and we were able to work them up into the ceiling, and it worked beautiful. In the boutique rooms, what we had to work with there were the ceilings, and the ceilings only. The walls, the windows, everything had to stay in its place, but because of the damages from the roof above, the ceilings came down. So that gave us the perfect opportunity to put in a Mitsubishi ceiling cassette unit, and in some rooms 2 units to do both and take care of the heating and the air conditioning needs of each room, all with its own room controller. And Mitsubishi's flexibility with their ceiling cassettes, low profile, enhanced the job. And all we had to drill was an inch or inch and a quarter hole, running our line sets from the ceiling cassette units out to the hallways where the branch controllers were located, made the installation a breeze. And it was that simple. Add power to them, add a drain line to them, and we were done. And that's the way we did every boutique hotel in this place. So with our challenges ahead to design a heating, air conditioning, and ventilation system for a building of this structure under the direction of the Historic Preservation Group, we had many, many challenges. As you could see, this building has no lot space between each side, has sidewalks and streets. So the initial challenge we had is to where to locate the outdoor units. And with that in mind, what we did was we discovered vaults. We discovered areas underneath the sidewalk in the basement where we can hide and disguise the outdoor units. So we literally found 5 vaults underneath the sidewalk between the building and the street and located all the outdoor units. The concern we had was maintaining proper temperatures in the vault. As we were installing all the Mitsubishi equipment, we put variable speed air handlers in there running off a temperature controller to maintain constant condensing temperatures to make sure the Mitsubishi products work well, and they did. So as we get back to the first floor, in the commercial spaces, the areas that we had an opportunity to work with were the walls. As you could tell, the walls were, the plaster was falling off, the brick was loose, the mortar was gone, the windows were cracked. All the walls, the perimeter walls had to be rebuilt. And they looked back then as they do now. So what we were able to do, using the Mitsubishi products, we used fan coils. In this specific space, the grand ballroom, we tied in 11 fan coils and connected them to operate with their outdoor units, hid and concealed them within the woodwork as you walk around, and able to heat and cool this space, whether it's 100 people or whether it's 500 people, and the equipment was phenomenal. The other first floor spaces, the retail spaces, we have a florist, we have a tuxedo shop, we have wedding gowns, we have restaurants, we have lobby bars. Again, same condition that the building was left in is what we had to work with, outside perimeter walls. So when they peeled back some of the woodwork that was there to rebuild the perimeter of the building, that gave us the opportunity again to use these concealed fan coils in multiples, depending on the size of the space and the amount of people loading that, and conceal these inside the walls. And they were phenomenal. You don't notice them, you don't hear them, you don't feel them. They work to perfection. And they're sized to handle the small loads or the large loads, heating and cooling. To summarize, we had 13 months to complete this magnificent structure. And the only way we were able to maintain the time frame that we were allowed to work within was to use the Mitsubishi products. They simply put, worked for us, and to date, we haven't had one issue with their products in over 2 years' time running. It's simply a good product, a very good product. As we were in the process of designing and building and installing these products, the owners went out and sold the banquet rooms and leased the spaces for events. So the challenges of completing on time versus the challenges of him generating revenue by occupying these spaces, that was a huge challenge. And fortunately, using the Mitsubishi products are very easy to install, and worked phenomenal with us. When you look upon this nearly 400,000 square foot, 100-year-old facility, and you look up the walls and you could see how we were able to maintain that historic preservation. And to be honest with you, the only way we were able to do that in a timely fashion is to use the Mitsubishi products. From working with the first floor commercial spaces where all we had access was the walls, the perimeter walls, and how they had the fan coils, the concealed fan coils that we used that fit that product, and that fit that job perfectly. As we work our way up into the hotel, where all we had was a ceiling to work with, Mitsubishi had a product for that. The challenges there, as I mentioned, with the low ceilings and minimal access, it worked phenomenal. The Mitsubishi products really exceeded our expectations, from as small as a small office with a Mitsubishi ductless split system to the magnitude of our first floor grand ballroom as we're in now today, or all the apartments and the boutique hotel above. Mitsubishi products really exceeded our expectations. We have never, ever, ever had a failure or a callback or an issue with any of the Mitsubishi products. I mean, they really started day one and they've been running today, you know, no issues whatsoever, yeah.